Our journey of love started in college, prior to salvation. You know, I was a wild athlete who thought I was, you know, the best thing walking on earth, and you know, I saw her, and we, you know, we clicked, you know, in college.
He was a rascal. He would play a lot of mind games, say mean things like, you're not the type of person that I would marry. You don't have the qualities that I want to have, that I want my wife to have. And just real hurtful things. And then I wrote him a letter expressing to him how I was just done. And I had made up in my mind that if he didn't call me after this letter, I would never call him again.
But it wasn't until she wrote that letter, and I was dealing with some things that I was dealing with in football, and that letter, and then I went to a friend of mine, Irvin Fryer, preached a message called "Looking for Love in All the Wrong Places." He invited the whole team out to the service, and that message he preached was for me. And I bought the tape and I took it home and I read her letter and I listened to his message for a couple of days. And after the third day, I sat up on the edge of my bed and I cried out to God. I said, Lord, what must I do to be the man you've called me to be? And her letter touched me deeply. You know, I could feel the pain and the hurt that I caused her. And the Lord told me to call her. Tell her you love her, tell her you're going to marry her, tell her you're going to be with her. And those were the three primary questions that she had in that letter.
When he finally called, he had told me that he loved me and that he had answered a lot of the questions that I had wrote in the letter, and that God told him to marry me. And I was like, God? He hadn't said a word about God in the 5 years we were dating. I thought it was another one of his mind games.
But what happened for me, what was significant about that moment is once I obeyed the Lord, the voice of the Lord, and did that, as soon as I hung up the phone from her, I experienced that new birth. I experienced born again experience, and I felt the weight of sin lifted up off my heart, and I literally felt the love of God come into my heart in such a way that it just overwhelmed me to the point where I just started running around the house crying. I was at home in my bedroom, and I started crying, and the Lord filled my heart with such a love for Leslie that, you know, I couldn't do nothing but love her.
So eventually, by talking to him and realizing that he had changed so much, I said, yep, I'll marry him. And we got married, and now we are where we are.
and I had such a love for her. The Lord gave me such a love for her at the time. And I used to pray, Lord, make my love to increase and abound all the more toward the Lord first and foremost, and then toward Leslie. And so that love began to grow and it began to blossom, and I began to just, you know, go into this love affair that has come forth now in song. It's come forth now musically. And so that's the whole gospel love field. It's an expression of the love relationship between a husband and a wife. Not just Leslie and I, but what should be between every couple that's committed and dedicated to seeking first Jesus Christ and living out, you know, that love that God put in our heart.